Hello and welcome. Today we're going to dig into a really fascinating idea, how a 150-year-old puzzle about steam engines can actually tell us a whole lot about the future of work in the age of AI. It sounds strange, I know, but stick with me. So let's just start with a provocative question. What if becoming more efficient doesn't lead to less work, but actually creates more of it? Just let that sink in for a second, because that one idea is the key to pretty much everything we're about to talk about. All right, to really get a grip on what AI is doing to us today, we actually need to rewind the clock. We're going back to a really weird puzzle from the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century. Okay, so here's the mystery. Back then, engineers were making steam engines way better. They needed less and less coal to get the same amount of power. So logically, you'd think, great, Britain is going to use less coal. But nope, the exact opposite happened. Coal consumption went through the roof. And that's the riddle, right? How on earth does making something more fuel efficient lead to burning way more fuel in total? It feels completely backward. But there's a really powerful economic logic hiding in there. And that logic brings us to the answer, a concept that's often called the efficiency paradox. Formally, this thing is known as Jevons Paradox, named after the guy who figured it out, an economist named William Stanley Jevons. And the core idea is actually pretty simple. When technology makes something cheaper and easier to use, we don't just keep doing the same old things more efficiently. We actually invent entirely new ways to use it. So here's how it works. It's a simple three-step process. First, you get a technology that boosts efficiency. More bang for your buck, more power per lump of coal. Second, this makes using that resource way cheaper. Suddenly, running a factory or a train becomes much more affordable. And third, this is the kicker. That lower cost unleashes a tidal wave of new demand. People built more factories, laid more train tracks, and all of a sudden, total coal consumption just exploded. So you might be thinking, okay, that's a cool story about coal, but what does that have to do with me today? Well, it turns out it has everything to do with us. Because right now, we are living through that exact same dynamic. We just have a new engine and a new kind of fuel. I mean, the parallel here is just stunning. The steam engine of the 19th century, well, that's the artificial intelligence of today. And the resource we're talking about isn't coal anymore. It's things like computational power, data, and just the sheer amount of work we can possibly get done. And here's the crucial point. The exact same logic applies. Every single time an AI model gets faster or cheaper or just a little bit smarter, it suddenly makes sense to use it for a whole bunch of new problems. So instead of saving our resources, we end up finding new ways to use AI, which expands the total use of data, computing power, and human oversight. In the modern world, this fallout from Jevons Paradox has another name. It's often called the rebound effect. All those efficiencies you thought you were gaining, they rebound back at you in the form of way more demand. Let's make this real. Think about the public sector. Say you automate the process for getting a permit, making it super fast and easy. You don't just clear your old backlog, you actually encourage a ton more people to apply in the first place. Or you give your team an AI tool that makes data analysis faster. Do they go home early? No. They get asked to run 10 times as many reports. You offer 24/7 digital services? Well, now citizens expect instant answers, and the total number of interactions goes way up. And the result is pretty wild. You can see it here. A team might bring in AI thinking, great, this will cut our workload way down, maybe by 70%. But because of this rebound effect, the new super efficient service attracts so much new demand that the actual workload can jump right back up, sometimes even higher than before. The system doesn't get lighter, it just gets busier. And this brings us to what is maybe the single most important takeaway from all of this. It's a fundamental mistake to think that AI efficiency automatically equals less work. The paradox pretty much guarantees that it often just shifts the work around, or in many cases, it actually multiplies it. And the consequences of this ripple out across the whole system. For us humans, it means our skills have to change. We have to move away from the routine stuff and focus more on complex judgment, on ethics, on actually governing these powerful AI systems. It also means our need for data centers and energy is just going to keep climbing. And it means we have to actually plan for all this new expanded workload. Okay, so if we can't stop this paradox, what are we supposed to do? Well, this isn't about fighting progress. It's about being smart and managing it. The goal is to steer all this new efficiency away from just creating more volume of work and toward creating more value. So how do we actually do that? The source material gives a pretty clear roadmap for leaders. First, you have to know this rebound effect is real and actually plan for it. Second, stop measuring productivity in just hours saved. You have to look at the total system workload. Third, you've got to actively manage demand instead of just letting it run wild. Fourth, make AI governance a central part of how you operate, not an afterthought. And finally, use the human capacity freed up by AI to get your people focused on more complex, higher value work. Ultimately, it really does boil down to this choice. You can either sit back and let AI efficiency create a tsunami of low-level tasks that buries everyone, or you can actively guide that newfound power toward things that really matter, like better service quality, more equity, or solving problems we couldn't tackle before. And that brings us to the final and most crucial thought. The lesson of Jevons Paradox, from the age of steam right up to the age of AI, is this: raw technological power is never enough. Without a smart strategy and wise governance, our own tools can end up running us, making us busier, not better. So I'll leave you with this to think about. As AI gets woven into your world, into your job, is your organization just preparing for efficiency, or are you truly preparing for the rebound?